I recognize the Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, more Nova Scotians are waking up to news of how this government's cruel cuts will impact them and their families. Autism Nova Scotia will have to lay off staff and eliminate programs across the province. These cuts will hurt, especially in rural communities where jobs and programs are needed the most. These jobs were filled by Nova Scotians supporting autistic people to live full, productive lives, to gain employment, and to experience joy and community. Some of those laid off are also autistic. What possible explanation does the Premier have for cutting this funding?
I recognize the Honourable Premier.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Obviously, Autism Nova Scotia does incredible work, as do a number of service providers across the province. We're lucky to have them. We're grateful for the work they do. They care about Nova Scotians. We also care about Nova Scotians. This is a difficult time. There's just no question about that. A $1.2 billion deficit last year, $1.2 billion deficit this year. We have to make some decisions to see how we can continue to support people, but make sure that we're on a more sustainable path, Madam Speaker. So there's a difficult time. We'll work with Autism Nova Scotia. We'll work with other service providers. We'll work with Nova Scotians to see the best possible way forward. But there's no question that these are difficult times.
I recognize the Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Madam Speaker, the Premier says this budget is about defending Nova Scotians, but who is he defending with these cuts? 2 years ago, this government finally promised a provincial autism action plan and improved services for autistic Nova Scotians and their families. Instead, people are now worried about how these cuts will mean reduced programs and services for the autistic community. Will the Premier now commit to continuing the Provincial Autism Action Plan, or is that on the chopping block too?
I recognize the Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And what's happening in Nova Scotia and happening across the country. We see provincial budgets deficits, the federal government deficit. It's not a sustainable path. So we need to make sure that we make decisions to try to get things in a more sustainable place. So we're continuing to invest in healthcare. We're continuing to invest in Nova Scotians. We want to keep taxes low because we know that Nova Scotians are struggling in their own households as well. So we're trying to do a lot of things at the same time, Madam Speaker, but through it all, we will continue to work with Nova Scotians on the best possible way forward in the face of a changing environment.
Before I recognize anyone else, I ask during question period, you're not allowed on your phone. Please do not use your phone. It's not that I saw someone doing it, it's actually that somebody messaged me. So don't use your phone. Just saying. So I know exactly who you are. I recognize my apologies for this, but it's that easy on this one. I recognize the Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is the Premier really trying to argue that autistic Nova Scotians should bear the brunt of his financial mismanagement? Most Nova Scotians have heard the phrase, "We shall never rebuild Halifax unless everybody works." This was coined after the Halifax explosion, and we are once again facing challenging times. And for autistic Nova Scotians, losing access to transition supports for post-secondary employment programming, the cruel cuts in this budget mean that they will not only be excluded from work, but from playing a meaningful role in their communities. Will the Premier commit to continuing the Autism Action Plan and tell us how he can possibly call this budget a defense of Nova Scotians?
I recognize the Honourable Premier.
Madam Speaker, the reality is that if we don't get our finances under control, the future looks worse. That's what we're defending against. We're working towards a stronger future. It is prosperity that funds programs. It is prosperity that funds supports for Nova Scotians. That's why we are working to grow the economy, push forward on the projects that are in front of us, that are available to us. And when we are successful on that, there will be more. And our government has shown that when we have more, we do more. We've made significant investments in a number of areas, but investments in people. And when we can do more, we will do more. This is a different time right now, Madam Speaker.